The world was not ready when the first sign appeared. It was a quiet evening in New York, the sky painted orange as the sun set. People walked home from work, children laughed in the parks, and the streets were filled with the normal sounds of life. But high above the city, something strange broke the peace. A massive shadow moved across the clouds. Birds scattered in fear, their wings flapping wildly. At first, people thought it was only a storm coming. But then the clouds split apart, and the truth revealed itself. It was not a storm. It was a ship. The alien vessel was larger than any city, dark and cold, like a piece of night pulled down from the stars. Its surface glowed with strange red lines that pulsed like veins, alive with energy. The ship made no sound, yet its presence carried a weight that pressed down on every heart. Phones rang, cameras pointed upward, and news channels broke into emergency broadcasts. Across the world, the same image filled screens. A gigantic alien ship hovering silently above Earth. Fear spread quickly. In London, church bells rang as crowds filled the streets. In Tokyo, soldiers rushed to their posts. In small villages, families huddled together, staring at the sky. Some prayed, some cried. Nobody understood what was happening, but everyone felt the same cold truth. This was not a visit. It was a warning. Inside an underground base in the desert, a small group of scientists and soldiers watched the ship on their monitors. Among them was Dr. Amina, a woman known for her sharp mind and steady heart. Her voice shook as she whispered, This is not just an invasion. Look at the patterns. That ship is a weapon." Her words froze the room. For days, the ship did nothing. It only hovered, covering the sky with its endless shadow. Governments tried sending messages, but no answer came. Fighter jets circled the skies, but none dared to get too close. The world held its breath, waiting for the first move. Then, on the fifth night, the move came. The red lines on the ship brightened, glowing so strong that the night looked like day. A deep hum began to rise, shaking windows and rattling bones. People everywhere covered their ears, but the sound was inside them. It was not just noise. It was a message. A voice echoed across the world, not through radios or speakers, but directly into the minds of every human being. "We are the Zorath. Your world is weak. Your time is over." Children screamed, adults fell to their knees. The voice was cold, empty of mercy. It felt like steel pressed against the soul. In the underground base, Dr. Amina's hands trembled as she wrote notes. "It's not just a ship," she whispered. "It's a superweapon. They want to end us in one strike." Her team looked at her with wide eyes. Some wanted to fight, others wanted to run. But deep down, they all knew there was no escape. The Zorath had not come for peace. They had come for destruction. On the sixth night, the ship shifted position. The red light focused into one giant beam, pointing straight at Earth. Scientists confirmed the worst. The weapon was charging. Panic erupted worldwide. Cities emptied, people tried to flee, but there was nowhere safe. Every television and radio screamed the same message. Prepare for impact, and then something even stranger happened. The sky began to change. The stars above vanished, swallowed by a black mist. The moon turned blood red. The air grew heavy, hard to breathe. Even the oceans roared louder, as if the planet itself was crying out in fear. The world stood at the edge of destruction. But in the underground base, Dr. Amina refused to give up. She looked at her team and spoke with fire in her voice. "If this is a weapon, then it has weaknesses. Every weapon does. We will find them." Her words lit a small flame of hope in the dark room. Around her, soldiers and scientists nodded. They were few, but they were Earth's last chance. The countdown had already begun. The ship hummed louder, the red beam growing brighter. People everywhere felt it. The end was near. Yet somewhere deep inside, the spirit of survival began to rise. Humanity was afraid, yes, but it was not broken. And so, the first chapter of the battle for Earth began, under a sky that glowed with alien fire. The night sky was still burning with strange lights from the massive alien ship. People stood on rooftops, in streets, and by their windows, staring at the impossible sight above them. The air was heavy, filled with a low hum that made the ground shake softly under their feet. Some children cried while their parents tried to hide them, but even the strongest adults could not hide their fear. Suddenly, the humming stopped. A silence spread across the world. It was the kind of silence that felt unnatural, as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Then a voice came. It was not a human voice. It was cold, metallic, and mixed with strange noises. It echoed inside radios, televisions, even through people's phones. The voice said, "People of Earth, your time is over. We are the Zorath. We have traveled across galaxies. Every world we face has fallen. Now it is your turn." The words were broken, almost like a machine trying to speak human language. But the message was clear. Fear grew in the hearts of millions. The voice continued, deeper and sharper now. "You will be erased. Your planet will burn. In 24 Earth hours, our weapon will fire. No army, no shield, no God can save you." The broadcast ended with a long, static sound, like screaming wind, before everything went silent again. In homes and shelters, people held each other tightly. Some cried loudly. Some prayed to the sky. Some refused to believe what they had just heard. But the truth was clear. The aliens had given Earth only one day left. Leaders from different countries connected through secret video calls. Their faces showed the same terror as ordinary people. Presidents, generals, and scientists argued, their voices shaking. Some wanted to fight back with nuclear weapons. Others shouted that nothing on Earth could reach the massive ship floating above. Meanwhile, scientists listened carefully to the broadcast again and again. They noticed something strange. The alien voice was broken, as if the signal was not perfect. It seemed like the aliens struggled to speak in Earth's language. Some scientists wondered, if their message was not clear, could their weapon also have weakness? But there was no time to test theories. Panic grew everywhere. In New York, people rushed to stores, grabbing food and water, even though they knew 24 hours would not matter if Earth was destroyed. In Tokyo, streets were filled with people staring upward, their faces glowing under the red sky. In small villages, elders told children to stay close, whispering old prayers. Across the entire planet, humans felt the same helpless fear. And yet, hidden inside that fear, there was also anger. A quiet anger building inside people's hearts. Why should Earth surrender so easily? Why should humans believe the aliens were truly unstoppable? Back on the alien ship, glowing lights circled around a huge dark sphere, the heart of the superweapon. Beams of energy pulsed like veins, spreading across the ship's metallic skin. Every time it pulsed, thunder rolled across the sky, even though there were no clouds. Cameras from Earth captured the image of the weapon, and soon televisions showed it to the world. The sight broke people's hope. The weapon looked alive, like a breathing heart of fire, ready to destroy everything in one strike. Yet, even as despair filled the air, some refused to give up. In a hidden underground base, a small group of scientists and hackers gathered. They had been secretly watching the alien signals since the first moment the ship arrived. And what they found made them whisper with excitement and fear. There was something wrong with the alien technology. One of them, Dr. Amina Rahman, whispered to the others, "The weapon uses our atmosphere. It pulls energy from our oxygen, our air. If we can disturb that process, maybe, just maybe, we can stop it." The others looked at her with wide eyes. Nobody dared to believe it yet. But it was the first light of hope. Outside, the countdown had already begun. On every screen in every city, the alien voice returned one last time that night. 24 hours remain. Prepare for your end. And then silence. The world could not sleep. Some waited for the end. Some prepared to resist. But deep under the earth, in that hidden base, the first plan to fight back was born, because sometimes, even the most powerful weapon can fail against the smallest act of resistance. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. The world woke up to a sky that no longer looked like its own. It was morning in some places, but the sun's light was weak and covered by strange shadows. In the night zones, the stars had disappeared, hidden behind a curtain of alien energy. Everywhere people looked, they could see the massive ship, still floating silently like a black mountain hanging in the sky. At first, the silence was worse than the threats. It felt like the calm before a terrible storm. Children asked their parents why the ship was not moving, why it was just watching. Nobody had answers. But then, at exactly the same time across the world, the weapon revealed itself. The bottom of the alien ship began to glow. A dark metallic surface opened like a flower spreading its petals. From inside, a giant sphere rose slowly, surrounded by strange blue fire. The sphere was not made of normal metal. It was alive with energy, spinning with sharp flashes of light, each brighter than lightning. Every flash made the ground rumble as if the earth itself was afraid. Scientists who watched through telescopes gasped. This was no ordinary weapon. The sphere had a pulsing rhythm, like a beating heart. With each pulse, the skies changed color, blue to red, red to black, then back again. News stations showed the images live. People gathered around televisions, radios, and phones. Some screamed when they saw the glowing sphere. Others fell to their knees, thinking it was already the end. The sound that came with it was worse than the sight, a deep, low hum that grew louder with every second, as if the world was standing next to a giant drum. Birds panicked, flying in circles until they dropped to the ground. Dogs howled in fear. Even the ocean seemed to rise higher, waves crashing against shores without warning. Nature itself was responding to the weapon. In one city, an old man whispered, "This is not just a machine. It feels like a demon." His words spread quickly because people felt the same. The weapon seemed alive. Inside the underground base, the secret resistance watched in silence. The hackers traced the signals coming from the weapon. The scientists studied the light pulses. One young engineer noticed something important. "Look at the rhythm," he said. "It's pulling energy from the air itself. The weapon needs Earth to breathe before it can kill Earth." Dr. Amina Rahman, who had spoken about this before, now felt certain. She looked at the team with determined eyes. "This is the weakness. If we can disturb the air, confuse the rhythm, we might break the weapon." But the problem was how. The alien technology was far beyond human understanding, and the countdown was already moving. 23 hours remained. Meanwhile, up in the skies, the weapon grew stronger. Beams of light stretched from the sphere, reaching out like long fingers. These beams touched the atmosphere, creating strange storms in different parts of the world. Rain fell where there were no clouds. Sand rose in deserts like whirlwinds. In the Arctic, the ice cracked loudly, breaking apart as if something underneath pushed upward. People panicked everywhere. In crowded cities, traffic stopped because everyone stared at the red-black skies. In villages, elders said it was the end of times. Even soldiers stood frozen, their weapons useless against the power they were watching. Governments tried to calm the public. Emergency messages played on radios and TV. Leaders told people to stay inside, to keep hope alive. But their voices shook with fear. They were humans too, and they knew the truth. No army could fight something this powerful. The alien ship gave no more warnings. The voice was silent. Only the weapon spoke now, with its thunder, its pulses, its glow that spread across the earth like fire in the sky. Yet, in the middle of all this terror, hope was not completely dead. In the hidden base, one of the hackers suddenly shouted, "Wait! There's interference! Something is blocking part of their signal!" Everyone rushed to his screen. The weapon's energy wave had a small flicker. It was tiny, almost invisible. But it was there. Dr. Amina leaned closer. "It's like it's struggling to hold balance. If that balance breaks, the weapon might fail." The team looked at one another. They all understood what this meant. The aliens were powerful, yes, but they were not perfect. Above them, the giant sphere continued to glow, each pulse stronger than the last. The countdown to destruction had already begun, and the world's fear grew heavier with every second, but now hidden deep under the ground. A small group of humans carried something new in their hearts, not only fear, but also the first spark of defiance, because if a weapon had a weakness, then it could fail. Beneath the surface of the earth, far from the chaos of the cities, a secret underground base glowed with dim lights. The air smelled of metal, wires, and old machines. Computers hummed, screens flickered, and the sound of keyboards filled the silence. It was here, hidden away from the eyes of the world, that a small group of men and women worked desperately. They were not soldiers. They were not politicians. They were scientists, engineers, and hackers, ordinary people who had decided to fight back. Above their heads, the alien weapon pulsed in the sky, sending waves of energy across the atmosphere. Every pulse made the ground tremble faintly like a giant heartbeat. But inside this base, nobody panicked. Their fear had already burned away. Now they carried something stronger: determination. Dr. Amina Rahman stood at the center of the room. Her sharp eyes moved from one glowing screen to another. Her voice was calm, but it carried power. We don't have time. If we want to save Earth, we must act before the countdown ends. The aliens believe we are helpless, but we are not. The team gathered around her. One of them, a young hacker named Leo, wiped sweat from his forehead. His voice shook, but he tried to sound brave. I broke into the alien frequency. It wasn't easy, but I caught fragments of their system. They are using our atmosphere as fuel. The weapon drinks our oxygen and turns it into raw energy. The others gasped softly. A woman with glasses whispered, "So if we can poison that energy, if we can confuse it?" Dr. Amina nodded quickly. "Yes, if we disturb their rhythm, the weapon could fail. But we need to act carefully. One wrong move and they will detect us. Then it's not just the Earth at risk. We'll be their first target." Silence filled the room for a moment. Everyone's heart beat fast. They all knew the danger, but not one of them turned away. Meanwhile, above ground, the world was drowning in fear. In London, churches were full. In New Delhi, people lit candles across rooftops, praying together. In Brazil, families held hands, waiting for the end. The skies over every land flickered with red light from the alien weapon. And yet not a single person on Earth knew that deep below, a secret resistance was preparing to fight back. Inside the base, Leo tapped on his keyboard rapidly. His screen showed strange alien codes, symbols no human could fully understand. But through patterns and rhythms, he began to make sense of them. "It's alive," he whispered. "The weapon, it behaves like it's breathing. It needs balance. If we send the wrong signal at the right time, it could choke." Another scientist, older and more cautious, shook his head. "But if we fail, we might accelerate the weapon. Instead of saving Earth, we might help destroy it faster." The room went cold. Everyone turned to Dr. Amina. She stared at the screens, her face pale under the dim lights. Her voice broke the silence. "If we do nothing, Earth will burn. If we try, there's at least a chance." Her words gave them strength. One by one, the team agreed. They would try. The next hours passed like minutes. Fingers tapped keyboards, wires sparked, codes were written and rewritten. The underground base filled with the soft buzz of machines and the fast breathing of humans working against time. Sweat dripped from their foreheads. Their eyes were red, but they did not stop. Above them, the weapon roared louder. The pulsing hum shook windows across cities. Lightning-like cracks appeared in the sky, stretching across entire continents. The countdown reached 20 hours. Suddenly, Leo jumped up. "I found it! A weakness in their code!" His eyes widened. "The weapon is connected to Earth's magnetic field. If we can disturb that connection even for a second, it might misfire." Dr. Amina's heart raced. "How?" Leo typed furiously. "Satellites. If we can use Earth's satellites to send interference signals, we can break the rhythm. It won't destroy the weapon, but it might delay it. Or confuse it." The team cheered softly, but Dr. Amina raised her hand. "We need to be careful. They will sense interference. Once we start, there is no turning back." For a moment, everyone in the room stared at each other. Their faces showed the same truth. They might not survive this mission. But survival was not the goal. Saving Earth was. Dr. Amina finally spoke, her voice steady. "Then we begin. For Earth." The team echoed her words. For Earth. And so, in the darkness beneath the ground, the secret resistance prepared to fight the most powerful weapon the universe had ever seen. Far above them, the alien ship floated silently, its massive weapon glowing brighter with every passing minute. The aliens believed victory was certain, but hidden in the shadows of their arrogance, humans had found a crack in their armor. The first plan to fight back was ready. The war for Earth had truly begun. The world entered the most terrifying hours in its history. 20 hours remained. The alien ship floated above the Earth like a shadow that swallowed the sky. Its weapon pulsed with growing power, each flash brighter than the one before. With every heartbeat of light, thunder rolled across continents, even where there were no clouds. The countdown had begun. In every city, screens flickered with the alien signal. A dark number glowed across televisions, radios, even on people's phones. 20 go. The timer ticked down second by second, a reminder that the end was approaching. Children cried when they saw it. Parents covered their screens in fear, but the numbers still appeared everywhere. It was as if the aliens wanted the entire planet to watch time run out. In the underground base, the secret resistance worked without pause. The air was hot from the humming machines, and the smell of burnt wires filled the room. Dr. Amina Rahman stood with her team, watching multiple screens that showed both Earth's satellites and the alien signals. Leo, the young hacker, tapped on his keyboard as fast as lightning. His face was pale, but his eyes burned with determination. "The countdown is linked directly to the weapon," he said. "Every second it gets stronger. If we're going to interfere, it has to be soon," another scientist added nervously. "If we disrupt their balance too early, they may detect us and fire at once. If we wait too long, we'll have no chance." The room fell into tense silence. Every tick of the countdown clock echoed inside their minds. Above ground, chaos spread across the planet. In Paris, churches were full of people singing hymns together, their voices trembling but united. In Cairo, the desert glowed red from the alien weapon's light, and families sat outside their homes holding hands, staring at the sky as if memorizing their last moments. In New York, the streets were filled with people, some screaming, some praying, some simply staring in silence at the giant ship that blotted out the stars. Even nature seemed to be preparing for the end. Birds no longer sang. The oceans grew restless, sending waves that slammed into coasts. The skies were filled with strange colors, green, purple, black, all caused by the alien weapon pulling energy from the atmosphere. Back in the base, Leo suddenly shouted, "It's ready! I can link our interference signal to the satellites now. We can use Earth's own machines against them." Dr. Amina rushed to his side. Her voice was sharp. "Wait, not yet. We must hit at the right moment. If we act now, we waste our only chance." The team stared at the countdown. It read 14:32:10. The weapon's hum grew louder. It was no longer just a sound. It was a vibration felt in people's bones. Windows rattled in cities. Rivers shook in their beds. Even the strongest buildings groaned under the invisible pressure. Then, without warning, the alien voice returned. It echoed across the planet, deep and cold. "Earth, you cannot run. You cannot hide. In 14 hours you will burn. Your skies will fall. Your oceans will boil. Your people will turn to ash." The message ended with static that sounded like laughter. People screamed. Some fainted. Others shouted angrily at the sky. But in the underground base, the resistance grew even more determined. Dr. Amina clenched her fists. "We will not let them decide our fate. Prepare the signal." Her team obeyed. Wires sparked as machines connected to satellites. The room buzzed with power. Sweat dripped down foreheads, but nobody stopped. Every second mattered. The countdown hit 12 calories. The alien weapon changed shape slightly. The glowing sphere opened cracks along its surface, and inside, rivers of white-hot energy twisted like living snakes. The light was so bright it burned the eyes of those who looked directly at it. The hum became a roar, shaking the earth like a distant earthquake. In villages and cities, people screamed as the sky lit up. The end felt close, but underground, the resistance was ready. Leo looked at Dr. Amina. "On your command." She stared at the screen, waiting for the exact moment when the weapon's energy was at its peak. Her heart pounded so hard she thought the aliens might hear it. Finally, she raised her hand. "Now!" Leo slammed his fingers onto the keyboard. The satellites across Earth sent a sudden burst of interference into the skies. Invisible waves shot upward, clashing against the alien rhythm. For a moment, nothing happened. The countdown continued. 11:59:59. 11:59:58. The team held their breath. Then, suddenly, The alien weapon flickered. The glowing sphere sputtered, its light breaking into unstable bursts. The hum grew jagged like a broken machine. The countdown froze for half a second. Gasps filled the underground base. "It worked!" someone shouted. But before they could celebrate, the weapon roared louder than ever. The countdown continued, even faster now, as if the weapon was angry. "Even fetting now. 11:54:59. Racing forward. The team's joy turned into fear. Leo shouted, "It's accelerating! They know we're here!" Above the Earth, the alien ship glowed like a second sun. Its weapon pointed downward directly at the planet. The sky turned red, then black, then red again. The battle for Earth had begun, and time was running out faster than anyone imagined. The Earth shook as the alien countdown raced forward. What had been hours was now slipping into minutes. The massive weapon pulsed with furious light, brighter than the sun itself. The skies across the world turned crimson, clouds torn apart by invisible energy. In cities, people screamed and clung to each other. In villages, families prayed with tears rolling down their cheeks. Everywhere, the same thought echoed, "This is the end." In the underground base, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the walls. The resistance team stared at their screens in disbelief. The interference signal had worked for a moment, but now the weapon was stronger, angrier. The countdown read, 0:29:59. Less than 30 minutes left. Dr. Amina's heart pounded. "We can't stop now!" "Increase the signal." "Push everything we have through the satellites!" Leo's fingers flew over the keyboard. The computers whined under the strain, their fans roaring, sparks flying from overloaded circuits. "If we push harder, the satellites might burn out," he warned. "Then let them burn," Dr. Amina said, her voice sharp. "Better to lose metal in space than every life on Earth." Above them, the alien weapon grew monstrous. The sphere cracked open, revealing a swirling core of white fire. Energy beams shot into the atmosphere, shaking the skies. It was like a storm made of lightning and thunder, spreading across entire continents. The countdown reached 00:15. People on the surface screamed as daylight vanished. The world was covered in unnatural darkness, broken only by the pulsing glow of the alien sphere. The hum became a roar that made ears bleed. Windows shattered from the vibrations. Mountains trembled. Rivers rose from their beds. And yet, inside the underground base, a tiny miracle began. The interference waves from Earth's satellites finally reached the alien weapon's core at the right frequency. For a brief moment, the sphere flickered like a dying star. Its light pulsed unevenly, the rhythm breaking apart. Leo shouted, "It's working again! The weapon is choking!" The countdown froze at 00:09:47. Above Earth, the sphere shook violently. Beams of light twisted in the wrong directions, striking empty space instead of the planet. The aliens inside the ship panicked. For the first time, the humans saw cracks in their enemy's confidence. The resistance team cheered, but Dr. Amina raised her hand quickly. "Don't celebrate yet. Push harder. We have to finish this." Leo nodded, sweat pouring down his face. His fingers blurred as he sent one final massive wave of interference. Every satellite around Earth, even the damaged ones, came alive, blasting signals toward the alien ship. The sky erupted. The sphere began to spin wildly, sparks of energy shooting in every direction. The hum turned into a terrible screech. So loud it shattered buildings on Earth. People covered their ears, crying in pain. But they also saw something that made their hearts leap. The weapon was failing. The countdown glitched. 08:55.
Now I can't 22.
0:3. Error. The numbers scrambled, flashing nonsense across every screen. The aliens screamed in rage, their voice breaking through the static. "Impossible! Your world must fall." Must, and then silence. A sudden blinding light exploded from the weapon. For one horrifying second, the Earth was covered in pure white glow, brighter than anything humans had ever seen. People thought it was the end. Many closed their eyes, whispering their last prayers. But when they opened their eyes again, the sight left them speechless. The alien weapon had turned against itself. The glowing sphere cracked down the middle like shattered glass. Rivers of fire spilled out, burning through the alien ship. The entire structure shook violently, pieces of dark metal falling into the atmosphere, glowing as they burned like meteors. A thunderous explosion followed, shaking the planet. The alien ship tore apart from the inside, its once perfect body ripped open by its own weapon. Flames and sparks rained across the sky. In every city, on every rooftop, people gasped in disbelief. The weapon that was supposed to end Earth had destroyed its masters instead. The underground base filled with cheers and tears. Scientists hugged each other, some falling to their knees in relief. Leo raised his hands, his voice trembling with joy. "We did it. We actually did it!" Dr. Amina stood silent for a moment, staring at the collapsing alien ship on the screens. Her eyes were wet with tears, but her voice was steady. "No, Earth did it. We fought together. That's why we're still here." Above, the alien remnants fell into the oceans and deserts, sending massive waves and shaking the ground, but no longer with deadly purpose. The weapon was gone. The ship was broken. The sky, once red and black, slowly began to return to its natural colors. Stars reappeared. The sun's light pushed through. For the first time in days, Earth breathed freely. But in the silence that followed, a question remained. Had the aliens truly been defeated? Or was this only the beginning of something far greater? The explosion faded, but its echoes rolled across the Earth for minutes. The alien ship, once so terrifying and powerful, now lay broken. Burning fragments drifted through the atmosphere, falling like shooting stars. People all over the world lifted their heads to watch, their faces glowing in the light of the falling debris. For a long moment, the world was silent. No hum, no countdown, no alien voice. Just silence. The kind of silence that felt heavier than sound. It was the silence of survival. Then slowly, the silence broke. In a small village in Africa, children cheered and clapped. In Paris, church bells rang wildly. In New York, people screamed with joy, hugging strangers in the streets. In Tokyo, fireworks meant for festivals were launched into the sky. Across the planet, billions of voices rose together, not in fear, but in celebration. Earth was alive. In the underground base, the resistance team sat in stunned relief. Some laughed, others cried openly. Leo leaned back in his chair, his hands shaking as he whispered, "We're still here. I can't believe we're still here." Dr. Amina wiped tears from her cheeks. Her voice was soft, but it carried strength. "We fought when everyone thought it was impossible. Remember this moment. Humanity survived because we refused to give up." Her words spread through the base like fire, filling every heart with pride. They were no longer just a secret team. They were the reason Earth still breathed. Above ground, the skies began to heal. The red and black colors faded, replaced by soft blues and golden sunlight. Birds returned to the air. The oceans calmed, waves shrinking back to normal. Cities that had been filled with cries of terror were now filled with cries of joy. Families reunited, soldiers lowered their weapons, and strangers embraced like old friends. Yet even in celebration, fear still lingered. In the ruins of the alien ship, some fragments still glowed with strange energy. Satellites caught glimpses of alien symbols etched into the debris. Scientists warned that the technology, though broken, was not gone. And more importantly, what if the aliens were not finished? What if this was only their first attempt? In a press broadcast watched by millions, leaders of every nation stood together for the first time in history. Their voices carried the same message. We survived. We are one world, and if they return, we will be ready. It was a promise, one born from fear but strengthened by unity. In the underground base, Leo asked quietly, "Do you think they'll come back?" Dr. Amina did not answer right away. She stared at the monitors showing the burning remains of the alien weapon. Her heart was heavy. Finally, she whispered, "They will. Enemies like these do not give up easily. But next time, we won't face them as scattered nations. We'll face them as one Earth." Her team nodded in silence. Each of them knew she was right. That night, across the globe, people looked at the stars differently. For centuries, stars had been symbols of wonder, dreams, and hope. But now, they were also symbols of danger. Somewhere out there, the Zorath were still alive. Somewhere out there, they were planning their revenge, But Earth was no longer the same. The fear that once crushed humanity had been replaced by fire, a belief that even against the strongest weapon in the galaxy, humans could fight and win. Children asked their parents about the strange day the sky turned red. Parents told them the truth. We were almost destroyed, but we stood together, and that saved us. Legends were born that night. Songs, prayers, and stories spread. Humanity had faced the edge of extinction and pulled back. The aliens had called Earth weak, but Earth had proved them wrong. In the underground base, the team finally stepped outside after days hidden underground. The air was fresh, the sky clear, the stars shining again. For the first time, they felt the night was truly theirs. Dr. Amina looked up, her face calm but her eyes sharp. This was not the end. This was the beginning. They wanted to erase us. Instead, they gave us a reason to fight harder than ever. Her words carried into the night, as if spoken to the stars themselves. The world had survived the alien superweapon, but survival was not enough. Humanity had been warned. The real battle was still ahead, and when it came, Earth would be ready. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.